Welcome to Best Kept Secrets Travel, episode 19. My name's Morgan.
And my name's Will, and on today's episode we're going to be telling you why backpacking and travelling in general is so easy to do and why so many people overthink the entire process and why you should book a holiday today. So,
roll the intro.
Best friends, and that's for life. Who stay traveling? I'm talking worldwide, 65 countries between the two. Every moment is so unbelievable. Sharing the best kept secrets about the trips and mistakes they made that they can't forget. So tell me if you're ready for a time to remember as they gear up for the next adventure. Yeah. Woo! Best kept secrets travel.
Other than travel and backpacking being so easy. Backpacking being so easy. The other thing that's really easy is to also subscribe to this channel and to follow and download us on all of the podcast platforms. Download us and our voices on Spotify, Castro, Apple Podcasts, any other platform.
And all the podcast platforms. And our voices are
you need
fantastic.
That notification bell so that every time we're pushing information your way that it pops up.
And you get all this amazing Best Kept Secrets. We would also be super grateful if you're listening to us on a podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, is to leave us a review. It doesn't take you very long, and we'd be so grateful if you would. Please.
Travel.
So kickstarting travelling. We have, in episode 1 of season 1, of course, we've done planning and how to plan a trip, and we've got a planning checklist. We're going to skip a bit of that, and we're just going to actually physically talk about how easy it is to plan a trip and book your trip. You don't even have to plan. I think that's kind of the idea of this episode, is that you don't have to plan. All you have to do is book your flights. So point number 1 is book your flights. And Will, how would you book your flight?
Typically go on some form of scanning
travel
website,
aggregator,
which is like the Google search for travel. A lot of you will know the companies such as Trip.com,
Skipbagged,
Skyscanner, Booking.com,
Kiwi.com,
Kayak.
Yeah, Google Flights.
There are loads out there. They all have their problems and they have the good things about them, and all of them have bad things about them. And you'll often find that lots of them show different prices, but there isn't one which always shows the cheapest price. And quite often, let's use lastminute.com, which is another one, for example. So often there are deals that once you booking something for over £250, you can then use a code and get an extra 10 or 15% off. So then there are ways to then compound the discounts and get even more money off your travels. And that's where we normally start. We normally go, just like in our planning episode, what do we want to do? Okay, we want to be in sunshine. Or we want a weekend away, but we don't want a long flight. So we'll generally pick Europe in general. We'll go on one of these websites, see where the cheap flights and destinations are, combine that with best time of the year weather-wise, if we want a bit of warmth or if we want to see snow. Then we just book it.
The key point here is all you have to do is book it.
Just book it.
Just book it. That's literally all you need to do. Don't faff around. The more you wait, the more you discuss, the more the prices are going to go up, and the more likely you're just not going to do it.
The longer you take, and the more times you keep clicking refresh, and it's pinging through that API, and it's going back to, let's say, Skyscanner or Trip.com or any of these guys' servers, it's going to see that people are actively searching that flight more and more, even though it's just you, and that price is going to go up. So the best thing to do is to search your flight, go, I want to go there, click.
And book it.
Book it.
Point 2. What's point 2? Well, this is more of a general point, but for all travel. Yeah. But it's still equally important. The next thing you need to do is make sure that you have travel insurance.
Yes. So some of the websites, when you're booking your flights and your hotel, will offer add-on travel insurance, depending on what you're doing. So, for example, if you're just doing a beach holiday or a small city escape, there's not that much that can go wrong. It's not like you're going rafting and rock climbing and skiing, and most travel insurance will never cover you for skydiving. But when you're doing activity-based holidays, then going and getting more specific travel insurance is normally more important, because you need to make sure that that travel insurance covers you for doing that travel. For example, if you go skiing, and a lot of people out there have been skiing, I almost guarantee 50% of those people who have taken out travel insurance while skiing, if they've skied off-piste, I almost guarantee if you read their travel insurance, it'll say that you won't be covered for off-piste skiing.
But the key is, again, just book it. And if you're not that confident about the terms, as Will says, sometimes it can be confusing, read the reviews and speak to people. Speak to your friends. Go on Facebook pages and find knowledgeable people, obviously like us, who can help answer your questions, and then just book it.
So, for example,
really not hard.
UK-based travel insurance company is called Snowcard. They're the ones I use for when I'm doing big, more extreme sports activities and skiing. They lay out what they cover so simply under each category. And you can get different levels. You can get a complete novice one, which will cover you up to 2,000 metres skiing, blah, 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 no off-piste. But then you can go up to their extreme cover. I think 1 year I paid for it. And they don't do it anymore. I think it did cover alligator wrestling, which I was so confused by. I would have thought that...
Where is the best place in the world to do alligator wrestling? It's a good question.
Maybe Australia Zoo. Just jump in and wrestle. I'm not being held liable. That was not true. Don't actually jump into a alligator pen or crocodile pen at Australia Zoo.
Orlando.
Bloom.
Apparently Orlando, just a few minutes from Disney World, is Gatorland, the gator capital of the world.
Can you wrestle them there?
Apparently. Well, that's what I looked up. Yeah, gator wrestling.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
For anyone in the member of public to do.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Okay,
that's odd.
That is odd. So the next thing I do, so for me, I've already got my insurance, full stop, for these trips for the year. So I've booked flights. The next step is book your accommodation. For me, I will almost always go onto Hostelworld. So all you have to do is download Hostelworld, go onto Hostelworld, type in the location, the place is the same thing. Location, the dates, and then look through the hostels. What I do for finding a good hostel on Hostelworld, and this is the best kept secret, is look at the reviews, but not only look at the good reviews, see if there are recent reviews. And for me, I'm always looking to see if a hostel is full. So if a hostel looks busy, and to tell if a hostel looks busy is if there was a recent review that talks about the atmosphere or how friendly the people were at the hostel. And that's one of my most important things that I look for when I'm looking at hostels. What sort of things do you look at?
Quite a lot of the trips I've been on, the first place, I normally look between two places. I normally use, for actual accommodation, I'll quite often use booking.com. Mm-hmm. Because I've booked something ridiculous, like 5 trips on booking.com, then you unlock this tier thing.
Ooh.
And now I've forever got it.
Now you cry all the time.
And that then gives you special discounts on loads of hotels and
that's quite
cool. Properties. The other one, I do use Airbnb a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe
for what sort of trips?
I used Airbnb all over Sicily, all over Ireland. Quite a lot of the UK I've used Airbnbs. I've probably stayed in now 45 or 50 Airbnbs. Haven't had a bad experience yet.
Touch wood.
You get weirder experiences, but never a bad one.
My mum had one where the shower didn't work.
Yeah, see, that's not great.
No.
That's not great. But then you can have that in a hotel.
Unlikely, but possible. Because, in a hotel, they've kind of got the option to just move you somewhere.
Yeah, unless
Whereas
it's round.
Airbnb.
Yeah. And And I'll quite often use Airbnb on Booking.com to try and find that accommodation. And often with an Airbnb, you get the benefit of having more local knowledge. So if you actually meet your host, some Airbnbs, you never meet the host and there's a key in a locker, blah, blah, blah. But if you're meeting the host, then they can give you pamphlets or say, oh no, this is where we go with our friends. Whereas a lot of the times, I don't think hotels necessarily always have that local knowledge.
Yeah, that's very true. It's a very good point. But anyway, that is super easy. And the next most important point is either download offline maps or download an app called Maps.me. And here you download the offline map, and then the first thing I do is I pin the location of the hostel wherever I'm staying. And this means that when you actually get to the place, you get off at the airport, you know that the tuk-tuk driver or the taxi driver or whatever is actually taking you to your location, so it's also a safety thing. But also, if you get the bus into the city centre, it makes it really easy for you to find your hostel and at any time of night, and it's just a very useful tool for travel, isn't it? You got any further points on that?
Not at all.
Not at all. Fantastic. And the next point is find out how to get to the airport. So we're only really talking here about London airports because that's where we live. For Stansted, how do you get to?
How do I get to Stansted?
Yeah.
I just never book a flight.
Never book a flight. Okay, that makes it okay.
I think I've been there once, Morgan.
If you're going to Stansted, really easy. There's the Stansted Express. If that doesn't work for you because that comes from centre of London, what you do is you drive to Harlow Town and use an app called Just Park. And here, instead of paying for a weekend trip, instead of paying £80 or £90 to park at the airport, you're paying something more like £10 or £12. And Harlow Town is one of the last stops on the Stansted Express. So from there, you just get the Stansted Express. And I even worked it out for a weekend. It was cheaper for me to park at Harlow and get an Uber, which was like £30 into the airport and then an Uber back. It was still cheaper than actually paying parking at the airport. So just don't do that. For Luton, there's Luton Airport Parkway train station. And this is, from here, there is a free shuttle that's pretty much 24 hours. And you just park at the station, you go online and pay for the parking. It's got CCTV and whatnot there. And it's, again, so much cheaper than parking at the airport. Or, of course, you could just get the train there if that works for you. Super easy. I've now done this so many times and it's just really cheap, easy, stress-free, and, again, a reasonable experience. And then for Gatwick and Heathrow, there's the Gatwick and Heathrow Express.
Well, from here it's pretty easy. You can get
Yeah.
I could get a taxi for less than £10.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, for us, we're bang in the middle of Heathrow and Gatwick, and that's kind of quite... Well, I am.
Heathrow's like an hour away from me.
I am. I'm bang in the middle. He's
and
not
here
quite.
is outside, isn't it, Morgan?
Yes. Oh, yes, we are, of course, outside, and we can see the stars, and it is absolutely fantastic.
The seagull.
Oh, yeah. But the big tip here is the fact that it is really easy, it is really cheap, or not really cheap. It's much cheaper than it is parking at the airport. Just don't ever do that.
Yeah, parking at the airport's seriously expensive.
Yeah, the tip here is essentially don't ever park at the airport. There are ways of getting around it that make it easy. And the last and final point, because obviously, I mean, with this is super easy backpacking, is checking in to your flight. So you do this roughly around 24 hours before, and always go for random seat allocation. You may see that especially cheap airlines like to do lots of
Wait, why always go for random seat allocation?
Because that's free. I'm talking more budget airlines rather than ones
Some
where you actually
airlines
get
it
given
still
free.
allows you to pick your seats.
Not for free.
I think EasyJet does for the back 50 or something.
Well, I've never come across that.
No.
I don't know, so I don't know if that's no. But then again, actually, I don't think.
But we're not just talking about budget airlines here. We're talking
Yeah.
about booking your holidays as a whole.
But in general, if you don't have seats, just do random seat allocations, or just don't pay for seats.
And if country still has COVID restrictions, some of the airlines won't let you check in online, and you need to go to a desk so that they can check documents.
That's been slightly irritating, but that is very much true. Hopefully, we'll start slowly stopping that now. I hope. But just be careful when you're checking in. The airlines will try and upsell and sell you loads of different things you may need, but in general, I just tick no to all of them. Random seat allocation. Don't need extra hold luggage, because what do we like?
One bag only.
One bag only. Don't need anything. Save money. And then all you have to do from there is get on your plane and enjoy the flight. Simple. How easy is backpacking now? Will, quick test. What were the 6 points?
Book your flight. Insurance.
Yeah.
Hotel.
Yeah. Well, hostel.
How to get to the airport.
Yeah.
Are we saying under that don't park
Well,
at the
actually,
airport?
Yeah, that's don't park at the airport. Yeah.
One bag only?
Yeah, that's checking.
Have I missed
You missed point 4, which was download the offline maps and pin where you're meant to go for safety reasons and for making it easy to actually get to your
Some
final
people like
location.
what 3 words as well.
Yeah, what 3 words?
That's more of a safety feature. To be able to pinpoint where you are in the world. Where
Specifically.
Very,
very specifically.
Yeah, they've got rid of all their issues they were having.
Yeah. So as you can see, there is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be booking your flights right now for your next adventure. Our next adventure is to Grantham.
Yeah, Grantham. We're going and doing a Tough Mudder, just for a bit of fun.
Yeah, just day trip.
It's going to be so wet.
Day trip up north, Tough Mudder, get the train back all soaking wet.
Don't know why we're doing it.
Day out. Dog walk.
It's sort of the only reason too.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
We'll be fine. We've trained really hard. I went to Ninja Warrior Watford last week. That was my training for getting wet.
What was it?
Yeah.
I'll
It
be
was
alright.
Sweaty.
I don't know if there's even monkey bars, isn't it? Like cargo nets and just running through a bit of mud and. I don't know what to expect.
I don't know
compared
whether
to
we're
Spartan
underselling it or. Well, I don't think we're overselling it.
I don't know what to expect.
No.
The thing we want to know though is our viewers and listeners. What are they going to be booking after hearing
we'd love to hear
this
it.
episode? So in the next coming 2 weeks, I'll be booking maybe 2 trips, 3 trips, I reckon.
Ooh.
End of August, looking against Croatia.
Well, that's very far in advance. I don't think that far in advance.
Oh,
Probably should. We do
planning.
need to look at EasyJet though.
Yeah, I might just use that voucher, that trip.
Yeah.
Cut my thing in half, because that's just going to feel like a free £120 I haven't used for 2 years.
That is so true.
I don't know how many more
Some
lives,
cost.
because they kept extending it.
Yeah.
I think they
So
extended
this
it
is
recently.
another key point with COVID is if you did have any vouchers, check that they're still valid, because they might not be. And if they're running out, use them. There's literally no point in not.
100%. Use them. I think I've got... Did you use your Ryanair ones?
No.
Your flights? I thought you'd flown Ryanair recently.
Yeah, I didn't use any Ryanair vouchers.
No,
great,
Ryanair was Ross and I.
Yeah, I was about to say. Oh, yeah, because that was your
And we
Germany
looked at going
trip.
to Germany.
Germany.
To Munich.
Munich.
Wherever Ross was telling me I had to go and see in Germany.
And Hamburg.
Yeah, he was going to teach me about the war or something. No, I did. I was just going along with it. I just said, yeah, I'll go, tell me what I need to book.
He'd be very good at that.
Yeah, it'd be like a tour guide.
Yeah, he'd be a very good tour guide.
I think that's a good episode. I think we need people just to go and book. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, just go and
book. Step one, though, should just be, just go, right, this is when I want to go.
Book it.
Then you go online, find the flights, click purchase, buy them, and then fill in the rest whenever.
Yeah. Or just book the flights. That's your first step.
Flight the book. Book the flight.
Flight the book.
The book flight.
And on that note,
the flight book.
Roll the outro.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I hope that you can handle going on adventures, best kept secret travels. Yeah, all over the globe, having fun, you know the deal. Amazing secret locations, hang out with Morgan and Will. Educate and entertain, haggle in the market, sharing their experiences. Time to get it started. Let's go.